Okay, hang on, Mr. Pessimism. Did you just admit there are good people in the world? And they include us?
Hello everyone, David here. Nobody Wants to Die is a very cool new detective adventure game for PC, Xbox and PS5. I don't usually review single games on this channel, but I think it's a bit of a hidden gem, and I didn't want it to go under the radar. Having been playing games all my life and developing them for 3/4 of it, I am rather jaded, or perhaps I should say I have high standards when it comes to playing games. I'm not as forgiving as I was in my teens or 20s when I had more spare time, but even as a man in his mid, late, early 40s, this game really captured my attention. So here's my spoiler-free review. I was initially drawn in by the stunning graphics. I love handheld gaming, but I also have a 4090 sitting in my desktop PC, and it seemed like a shame not to really use it. I want to know what is the latest, greatest, most cutting-edge graphics in gaming, and the crown previously would have gone to Cyberpunk 2077, or perhaps to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 remake, on the strength of its Amsterdam level alone, which was pretty mind-blowing. And this indie-developed title is a real contender against those two AAA monsters, with an incredible level of detail, beautiful style, and crisp shader work. The dystopian future streets of New York are so stunning, I can sit there and just look at them for a while, and it made exploring the protagonist's dingy apartment a real joy. There are some abstract scenes which are like something out of a dream. Well done, Critical Hit Games, you've really pushed Unreal Engine far to achieve this, and put it in the hands of some skilled artists. The environment has this Art Deco style, but infused with worn-down future technology. It's slightly reminiscent of Bioshock, but different enough to have its own signature look. The gameplay itself is relatively simple. It's very narrative-driven, so you will encounter new, unique dialogue constantly, which is something I appreciate after a lifetime of grinding at 100-hour RPGs, and switches between exploration, crime scene reconstruction, and clue deduction. The story is great, introducing new elements at a rapid but not overwhelming pace, and the way the mystery unravels is very well handled. You really do find the clues which help to tell the story. I like that you're not ever under any time pressure. You can basically explore the crime scenes at your leisure. Even though a couple of levels tell you to hurry up, this is basically an illusion, and you're free to take your time inspecting everything. You have several tools at your disposal, such as a UV lamp which helps reveal blood splatter or other chemicals. Not entirely dissimilar to the residual heat scanner in my game, but it's a common concept, so I don't think they copied me. The X-ray scanner, which is used to reveal hidden pipes or cables, or show the trajectory of bullets. And the most innovative tool, the Reconstructor. This lets you rewind and fast forward time at whim, and this is amazing for visualizing the events that took place on the crime scene. The developers didn't pull any punches as you see blood splatter out of bullet wounds or flammable objects explode. It's all a beautiful, violent spectacle of chaos. It helps the player to gain an understanding into what happened, and I enjoyed playing with the timing to see things unfold from different perspectives. It's an interesting tool because it doesn't only appear to be a visual way of reconstructing the timeline, but you can actually interact with it too. So you can, I want to be fairly vague here, rewind a container back to a previous point in time, and then open it, and take out and even steal, if you want, the contents. All the tools have this cool, mechanical, steampunk style. I would say it drew some influence from the original Blade Runner movie and its Voight-Kampff test. They match the classic future technology of the game world, and the little whirs and clicks they emit during use are spot on. Speaking of which, the small cast is voiced extremely well. At first, I thought the protagonist, James Kara, might be played by David Hayter, as I definitely recognised a bit of Solid Snake growl.
I don't know how I was lucky enough to even meet a woman like that.
The real voice actor is Philip Sacramento, and I wasn't completely off the mark as he has voiced Solid Snake in 2 short Metal Gear Solid movies, and nails the performance perfectly. The supporting actor Keaton Talmadge also gets the tone absolutely right in her performance of Sarah, and the additional voices have great performances. I really enjoyed the overall tone of the dialogue and the well-written script. The characters actually say clever and interesting things to each other, a far cry from the filler dialogue of some modern gacha games. This game is like the antidote for badly written video game stories. The music suits the mood of the game well, with moody saxophones and strings to accompany the somber crime scenes. Bug-wise, the game was very stable. I didn't experience even a single crash. Occasionally, I think some clues during reconstruction didn't appear when I stepped into the sphere that shows a snapshot of time, but I usually just had to rewind and fast forward a bit to let it sort itself out. A couple of lines of dialogue got clipped too early, and generally the music was a bit too loud, making the voices hard to hear.
Well, I can see you're having a great time.
That last one would be an easy fix for a patch, and although loud music could be put down to a stylistic choice, I think it's gone a bit far. It can be easily corrected in the options menu, but most players won't bother with that. It's not a super long game. I wrapped it up in about 8 hours, but considering it's entirely narrative driven, there's actually a great deal of content there. It's priced at £20 in the UK or $25 in the US for the PC version on Steam, which I think is reasonable for what is essentially an indie game, a very high quality one, but without very much replay value. It'll definitely be a steal if it's ever 50% off in a sale. You could go in again to get some of the different endings, but that will depend very much on if you have the patience to hear a lot of repeat dialogue. For me, it was a joy to experience it one time and done. So I would say that this is a hidden gem, but I hope more people hear about it and buy it, because I would love the developers to make a sequel. The game is generally reviewing well, but one comment that stood out to me is that it plays like the prequel to something amazing. I want to dismiss this as being unnecessarily harsh, but I probably wouldn't still be mulling it over in my head if there wasn't some kernel of truth to it. I think a second game in the series could be amazing if they added a few more RPG-like elements. They could add a partner that was really there with you rather than a disembodied voice, and some more character development that occurs due to the decisions you make. I liked the clue deduction minigame, and I would love to see that expanded or extended somehow. Perhaps you could fill in a clue board over multiple missions. I think there's a lot you can do with it if you have the time and money. Critical Hit Games are a relatively small team of programmers, and I think they scoped the project out very well considering, so I keep my fingers crossed they can grow the team and go on to do something even more ambitious next time. So that's my review. If I had to give it a score, I'd say 9 out of 10, but really I think it's worth looking at this game because it tells a fantastic story and has standout graphics. If you feel a bit bored with games you've played 100 times before, I recommend you give this a go. What do you think? Have you played it? I'd love to read your comments below this video. I do see every one. If you found this review informative, or at least entertaining, please leave me a like, and you can help me out by subscribing to my channel as well. See you next time.
Sounds dangerous.
I'm always dangerous.
Too bad you didn't warn me before we got married.
Would that have changed your mind?